What's up YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Malamar in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun me movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section. If you enjoy these, they help you out, drop a like and let's get into it. So, Malamar, spoiler alert, just got its mega revealed, and I thought it'd be cool to actually have a look at base Malamar and do a guide on it, and maybe discuss some things that could change as well. Looking at Malamar's stats at the start, really, they're just very, very average. Nothing really super appealing or amazing there. Its attack being the highest. Ability-wise, Contrary is its best ability because it's got a few moves it can use with that. The other moves, abilities are Suction Cups and Infiltrator, so nothing super amazing there. First set we're going to have a look at here is going to be Contrary. Also something to think about too, I'm not sure when this video get released, but it'll be interesting to see if the Mega does get Contrary or it gets something else. What do you think it'll get? Do you think it'll keep it or get something different? I would like an ability that's like topsy-turvy, so if the opponent tried to put stats up on the field, they would get instantly reverted. I don't know, I thought that'd be pretty cool. Let's have a look at this. Contrary Tank is going to be our first set here. Now, this set is based around Malamar's reasonable bulk. We're going to be using Superpower, which is Malamar's main attacking move for Contrary. And this is a nice base power of 120. And the great thing about it is it drops attack and defense by 1. So that's going to give you an instant +1 in attack and defense, right? The other move I've got on here is Terra Blast. So Terra Blast is actually pretty good when you use Stellar. So if you've got the Stellar there, that will actually increase your attack and special attack by 1 stage when you go, Terra and Stellar, right? So that's just another way to hit and boost your stats too. So say if there's any ghost type Pokemon there or Pokemon that resist fighting, you can still hit them really, really hard there after many, many boosts. The other two moves are Rest and Sleep Talk, and that's just self-explanatory there because say if it does get poisoned or burned, you're able to heal yourself off. Now the EVs on here are as follows. We've got Max Health and Max Special Defense Careful Nature. And I've got the last 4 in defense here. That maximizes its special defense so it can take as many special attacks while boosting up its physical attacks too. Now, it's not going to be very fast. It's going to be a slow, bulky Pokemon too. So it is prone to getting hit hard by very, very like choice specs users and stuff like that can still sort of break through it, those sort of things. So you sort of have to swap it in at the right time, right? So as for item, you can run quite a few different items. Leftovers is a good one. Another good one is Tangerberry. So Tangerberry is actually going to halve the damage from super effective bug type attacks. This is actually pretty handy when you're building superpowers and the opponent has got U-turn Pokemon. After a lot of superpowers, the U-turn isn't going to be doing as much there and you won't have to worry about that 4 times weakness so much, except if it's something like a Bug Buzz, sure, you know. So that's an option you go for. Another move you can run on there too, instead of Terra Blast, if you're not really worried about Stellar and you want to change your type, you can have Knockoff. So Knockoff and Superpower, that gives you good coverage. And instead of Stellar, you can have quite a good one is Fairy, because Fairy covers a lot of the weaknesses of Malamar, right? So it's bug weakness. That's a very, very big one there. It's definitely its bug weakness. Another good one for sure to run on there is also Poison. So Poison also gets around that big bug weakness as well. So that's just probably the best 3 you'll have there. If you really, really want to boost its attack with Superpower, you could opt for Fighting as well. But apart from those 4, I don't think there's anything else that really, truly works great. Maybe the only other one you could try would be like Terra Fire. If you're on a specific team and, for those bug type Pokemon. That's going to be about it, basically. So that's sort of our first set there. I got Careful Nature as well, increasing its special defense. So we'll check out the next one. All right, so this is going to be the Speedy Squid. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a few strategies here that you can use Contrary for too. Because Contrary is actually very good on other Pokemon, unlike Malamar. So this one is Stellar, so we're going to have that as Terra Stellar. Psycho Cut, Knockoff, basically for stab there, and Superpower. So we have Max Attack and Max Speed, Jolly Nature. So that's going to be very, very useful for Malamar. And it actually hits a reasonable, it's a reasonable speed set, but nothing super amazing. Now, if you want it to be even faster, you can give it Choice Scarf here. So that is an option if you just want to give it Choice Scarf. You could lock it into Choice Scarf Superpower. If you were going to run Choice Scarf, I wouldn't run Stellar. Personally, you might be able to get like one initial attack, but then afterwards it's not going to be so good. I think it might be better to have like a Terra Fighting or a Terra Dark Psychic, something along those lines instead of, because you can't really make use of the rest of your types. That's why I quite liked Assault Vest on there, This could be very good with Tailwind up as well if you were to run this in doubles. You could definitely get away with that, or you could even just put Adamant on there as well. So, and with max speed, you still got enough to outspeed stuff quite easily under Tailwind. So that's just another way of actually running Malamar. And there's quite a few little things I wanted to mention for doubles as well, and we'll get to that right now actually. All right, having a look at Malamar for doubles. I've got a couple of sets here, right? We'll just get rid of that one there. So, this set is like a sweeping set, right? Now, I thought Terra Rock could be kind of interesting on Malamar. So, firstly, we've got Covert Cloak as the item. It's a good Trick Room set. It can set up its own Trick Room. So, we've got Trick Room, or you could run it alongside a Trick Room Pokemon. Something like Indeedee would be all right. And we've got Rock Slide, which is going to be, Terra Rock, of course. And we've got Knockoff and Superpower. So Superpower increasing your attack, and then Rock Slide, we're hitting both of the opponents and going for flinches as well. The cool thing is you can, resist a lot of those bug moves aimed at you as well. Covert Cloak stops you from being Fake Out or any of those secondary effects too before you get your sweep sort of going here. EVs, 152 in health, 252 in attack, and 104 in special defense. So we're giving it some reasonable bulk there, but we're giving enough on the special side as well. So sort of just making its defense and special defense even. And we've got Brave Nature on there. So making sure that Malamar is going to be as slow as possible, under the Trick Room there. Because 73 speed isn't really all that good. There are some slower Pokemon which obviously can still outspeed you, but, that's like going to be another option for you there as well. Let's have a look at this next set. All right, so this one is more of a support set, and then I'm going to explain a couple of, quite a lot of partners you can run alongside Malamar, especially with a skill swap set. So we're going to, talk about that. So this is like a defensive sort of set, defensive support set with skill swap. So we got Superpower for obvious reasons, Skill Swap, Helping Hand, and Trick Room. We got Citrus Berry as the item and Terra Poison as a good defensive Terra for its typings. And we got 252 in health, 36 in defense, 220 in special defense and impish nature. This gives it great all-round bulk on both sides, and it's going to be useful with other Pokemon with skill swap, right? So Contrary, basically every time you use an attack like Superpower, a typical Pokemon would have its stats dropped. With Superpower, for example, your stats will rise. So let's list some of the Pokemon that could work really, really well. So you've got a lot of Pokemon could fall into this category. So, for example, you've got something like Shaman Sky. And this is more of a speedier Pokemon, so it probably wouldn't work so well on a Trick Room team, but it could work or serve well as an ally. So, Leaf Storm, right? That could be quite good. And then you could give it like Air Slash and Dazzling Gleam. I've done a Shaman Sky guide already, so that wouldn't be a bad partner there. Of course, you've got Miraidon as well. Miraidon's probably the scariest, like, one of the scariest ones you can go with. So you've got Draco Meteor, Overheat. So you're going to increase its special attack by 2 stages with Contrary. And then you've got Electro Drift as well. And then you could give it like something like Dazzling Gleam with the Assault Vest. So that's going to be a very, very good like partner and Contrary Pokemon. Another one I've got here is Glastria. So Glastria could work well under the Trick Room with Chilling Neigh, and you can just load it up with Close Combat. So that'll increase its defense and special defense. So you could build it really, really tanky with something like Assault Vest, and that would be very, very hard to take down for sure. So not a bad matchup there. Another Pokemon you could use is Slaking. Slaking's pretty cool. Plus, you can actually increase Slaking speed with Hammer Arm, which is kind of cool with Contrary. And you could give it something like Hammer Arm, Double Edge. I'm just thinking of a Drain Punch. That'd be pretty good. And maybe Sucker Punch as well. So you could give it like a moveset like that, which works well with Contrary, right? Another really, really good one you can give it to is Hydrapple. And you got Super Sweet Spirit, which is pretty cool too. And you can give this Draco and Leaf Storm as well. So you can. I've done a guide on Hydrapple already, so you can check that up. But that would be really, really good with Contrary. Another good one is Rayquaza as well, with Dragon Ascend. So you've got. I've just given you like a ton of teammates there you could use for Malamar. You know, Dragon Ascent is going to increase its defense and special defense by 1 stage too. So a ton of, an absolute ton of Pokemon that you could use there for Malamar. Now, we mustn't forget about the special set here for Malamar. It's mostly terrible, but I thought I'd mention it anyway, you know, because I always like to have a look at all sort of options. So Special Attacker or a PIMPNITE Special. So we got Nasty Plot that actually learns that. Dark Pulse for flinching. Psyshock for a mixed attacker. And Terra Blast Fire for any bug or steel type Pokemon. Like Forretress and stuff like that. Infiltrator is the ability. So ignoring, reflect and light screen. Safeguard, those sort of things. Substitute. And Sallyberry to increase its very, very average speed. 252 in special attack and 252 in speed. Tip of nature. And yeah, away you go, a special Malamar. You could also try and give it Expanding Force if you had a Psychic Terrain Pokemon. That could be kind of cool too. That would give it an extra power boost and stop any priority moves as well. So you could build that like a Trick Room one without speed and give it like health with Quiet or something like that. Like Indeedee would be a pretty solid partner for that. That could be fun. So that's just another way to run that. Speaking of Trick Room, I had this funny idea of Room Service because, like, obviously Room Service is going to increase speed. So I thought, what if you set up Trick Room, right? And then you send in Malamar on the last turn of Trick Room. Got the Room Service, and then once the Trick Room run out, right, you'd have a +1 in speed. And then you could potentially use that speed boost to sort of sweep through the team with like just a standard Superpower, Psycho Cut, Night Slash / Knockoff, and Terra Blast Stellar set. So I thought that could be funny as well because, like, you know, Room Service would increase it rather than decrease it, which would be pretty funny with Trick Room, because normally that would be. You know, that wouldn't be very good at all, be a complete disaster, but I thought you could work it in there. You have to get your timing and stuff right too, otherwise it would be, you know, absolutely terrible. But yeah, there's some options for Malamar. Counters, right? Any bug type Pokemon, mainly stuff like U-Turn, Bug Buzz, those sort of moves. Low Kicks. You know, that these Pokemon are going to easily be able to, you know, to beat Malamar. Unless you've got a special one. I don't think so, but if you had a special one, you could maybe deal with these Steel-type Pokemon. But, yeah, Bug Buzz Pokemon are going to completely destroy you as well. So, there's a ton of bug buzz Pokemon, so any bug types pretty much are going to be a very, very big counter, to Malamar. Let's have a look at some more sort of stats here. We really, really have to discuss Topsy-Turvy too. So I thought this would be a great as an ability for, when the Mega drops, or if it has dropped, depending on when it is. So Topsy-Turvy inverts the target stat changes. So this is a very, very hyper-specific move, right? Say if the opponent went for let's take an example here. So we have Iron Hands, right, using Belly Drum. If it was to use Belly Drum and a Drain Punch combination on a support set, if you had Topsy-Turvy, you could make its attack -6 instead, which is going to be pretty funny. So that'll invert those changes. But it's very, very highly specific. And most of the time, it's going to be a dead weight, unless you're expecting the opponent to boost their stats, which, some can. You might be able to get it on a Sword Dance or a Dragon Dance, but you are essentially waiting for the opponent to do something. Alternatively, you could try and do it with an ally. So say an ally deliberately drop their stats with Contrary and then you reverse them or something like that. You could try that, but most of the time it's going to be, it's going to be fairly gimmicky. But it is a really, really cool move, but very, very situational. That's the that's the main issue with it, I reckon. Let's have a look at it anyway. So let's go to a status. So it does have baton pass capabilities if you play rule sets like that. It does get Calm Mind. Interesting enough, it gets Destiny Bond too. So you could there are combinations of Trick Room and Destiny Bond with this Pokemon, for sure. So bear that in mind for singles and for doubles. We've gone over sort of nasty plot. I don't think it's going to be very good at screens. It's not bulky enough. Rest Sleep Talk is going to mostly be on a bulky superpower set. It gets Trick and Switcheroo too, which might be useful on a Choice Scarf set. You could try something like that. It does get a lot of boosting moves, but the problem is if you run Contrary, they're going to be negative boosts. So... that's the problem. I sort of was thinking about something like Swagger and Infiltrator. I was thinking something like that. Then I was thinking something like you could do Psych. It actually is one of the few Pokemon that gets Psych up too, so you might be able to copy some stats for a physical set. So if you just want a raw physical boost straight up without using Superpower, that could work, but it's very, very gimmicky for sure. You're probably better off just using a superpower set. But just, I like to look at things. Physical moves, let's check them out. So Knockoff is going to be commonly used on this Pokemon, so Dark type. It does get some other cool stuff like Rock Slide and Liquidation, but these are mostly coverage moves that don't really serve it too much. I find it very interesting it gets a Bug move, and it's 4 times weak to Bug. That's really, really interesting. So pretty much Superpower, and the only other ways you can boost it are Terra Blast, Stellar. That's pretty much it. You can't really do too much else with with Contrary. It's quite limited. It doesn't even have... I was thinking of trying to do a special one, but it's not it's got Leaf Storm or anything like that, or Overheat, so you can't really do that. They don't really, work all that well. Even if they had it. It does have a way of increasing its speed with Trailblaze, but of course then you've got to get rid of Contrary. So that's the thing with Contrary. It does have a couple of critting moves like Psycho Cut and Night Slash. You might be able to run a scope let's say Superpower, Night Slash. Let's go Psycho Cut. You might be able to put Scope Lens on there for a critting set. So that's got one stage. You've got a 50% chance to crit. So that could be something interesting there. And maybe pop on you could put Trick Room or onto there. Yeah, you could do Trick Room. That could be useful. So a Trick Room Sweeper or something like that. That could be fun. Attack and speed. I'm just making some stuff up on the spot here. And then you could do like... You can even put Stellar on there and get rid of Psycho Cut and give it Terra Blast or something. But yeah, that's an option you could go for there as well. There's actually quite a lot you could actually do with this Pokemon. It's actually pretty interesting. Contrary. Let's have a look at its special moves. We sort of already touched on that, but they're not very good. Dark Pulse, some sort of flinching set was the best I could come up with there. Nasty Plot or Expanding Force. It does get Stored Power, which could be, I don't know, it could be kind of interesting on a real tanky set. I was thinking like Stored Power, Super Power, Terra Blast or something crazy like that. That could be maybe something you could try, but it's going to be difficult because then what are you going to put on there, like Rest or something, and then maybe Chesto, but it's not going to probably be as bulky as you hope on the special side, and it's going to take a long time to get those stats up as well. So that's also an issue with Malamar for sure. Let's have a look at more of its moves here. I always like to go over absolutely everything if I've got any more last minute thoughts. There's not too much here. There really is. You might be able to do... I was thinking you could do some evil, like... It gets Trick and Switcheroo. You could do like an evil, like, Disable. I don't think it gets Mean Look. It'd be cool if I got Mean Look. Maybe... Does it... Oh, okay. All right, here we go. This is a PIMPNITE special for sure, but this could be a bit of fun. All right, let's make it a speedy nature. So... Obviously, you come across like a support Pokemon or whatever like that, and you can trick them with Choice Scarf. Then you can use Wrap to trap them in, and then you can use Disable, and they'll struggle. So you could do like a fun set like that. And then you could put on like, let's see. You could either do... You might be able to do like Superpower on there or something just to make you bulky, or a healing move. That could be cool. Maybe Superpower just to increase your stats and stuff. But that could be like an evil set you could use against someone. I already sort of looked at these. Yeah, this is just that was like my doubles one, singles and doubles one. It's pretty it is pretty bulky with the Solfest. That could be really bulky as well. Like you could do. I'm just adjusting this. You could do like a complete. Beast here. Let's go careful. So that would make it extraordinarily bulky on the special side. So you could just spam Superpower. Then you've got like Knockoff, Psycho Cut, and Terra Blast. So that would be really, really good. Or you could change the... It's actually pretty good. You could actually change it to maybe Fairy. That could be useful. Terra Blast Fairy. That way you resist a lot of stuff. And you could use that in singles. That'd be very, very bulky and annoying to get around. But then again, it's prone to stuff like Burn and Toxic. So that's why I like that Rest set there. I think that's pretty much it for Malamar. I don't have too much to add to that. I've recommended a lot of teammates for it that would work. With that, especially with its skill swap and contrary. I think that's its unique thing you need to make use of, as well as its contrary too. But overall, Malamar's stats are kind of disappointing, but it's got a cool ability with Superpower, and I'm very, very curious to see in the future if those stats will just get a big buff and increase, and then the typing will become less bad, or would they give it a completely new ability? Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, everyone, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.